Every time I think about it, I have to choose to either go there or not, because it's still deep, deep sadness.
Kia ora and welcome to the 4th season of Treading Water. Today, I'll be talking with Toni Street. Growing up on a farm, and I know sport was a huge part of your childhood and your life now, what impact did that have on your life?
In our family, sport was everything. Like literally it consumed every single day. And I think when you're in a rural town like I was, it was really accessible. So it was just quite normal to fill your time with playing sport. Yeah, I didn't really know any other way of life.
You lost your twin brother to leukemia when you were 18 months. Do you remember much?
I think because Mum and Dad talked about Lance a lot and made me aware that I was a twin and that he had died, so I always felt that there was this sadness in the family. Not that Mum and Dad made me feel sad, but I definitely knew the gravity of the situation, even as a very young child. You go through that, losing a twin, and then you get pregnant again, and it's a joyous thing. And Mum talks about it now. She always knew something was wrong with her pregnancy, and they thought she was just an anxious mother that had already lost a child, and that was why she was worried. But she had really good cause to be worried, because Tracy was born without kidneys, and you can't survive without kidneys. 2 losses very close together. Pretty rugged on Mum and Dad. Being a mum now, it's unimaginable. And especially I think the moment you get pregnant, you realise how special it is to be able to become pregnant in the first place and how precious a child is. And then to understand what they were going through when I was young, it gives you this whole level of understanding of how tough it would have been. Being farmers as well, trying to run a farm, which is a 365-day-a-year job, is really hard too. It's relentless, and having to get cover when they were trying to grieve and trying to go and get treatments, and yeah, it's a lot.
So you'd finished school, ready to go to uni, and you found out your brother Stephen passed away. Do you remember that moment?
I was actually on a cricket tournament. The next morning we were getting up and we were taking a really early flight to Christchurch to go out to Lincoln to play Canterbury. And as soon as we touched down in the airport, I got taken into a room away from my team. It was my mum on the phone, and she told me Stephen had died. I mean, just the most worst moment of my life. I remember feeling really claustrophobic and just so stressed and like really panicked for my parents, because I knew this was their 3rd child they had lost, and I just didn't know how any of us were gonna get through it. And then I arrived in New Plymouth Airport to my mum and dad and my little sister, who was only 11, and just this world turned upside down. It's unimaginable, and I don't know how mum and dad still deal with it, to be honest. I don't think you ever get over it. You learn to cope with it, and you learn to give yourself a happy life, but every time I think about it, I have to choose to either go there or not, because it's still like deep, deep sadness. Thinking about what you've missed out on as well. He's 4 years younger than me, you know, he'd be in his late 30s, probably with a family now. So yeah, it's still pretty brutal.
I read a moment that your dad had years ago, which I've heard happens a lot, that he saw Stephen come back.
Because for my dad, and this has kind of haunted me a bit over the years, that Dad had to find him, and I just, you know, sometimes I think about what that moment must have been like for him, you know, to have to not only find him but then to have to tell all of us. For him to have this sort of comforting feeling that he was still out there somewhere and he was fine, I think was really important for my dad to have, to be able to move past it and to be able to keep on living.
How have you dealt with the grief that you and your family have experienced?
When I wrote my book in 2021, so about 4 or 5 years ago, I think that really helps because I had conversations with Mum that I'd never had before. And even though it was really painful to talk about, and I didn't really want to go there because it feels like you're opening up old wounds, I think it was good for me to get an understanding of what it was like, particularly for her when I had my sick twin brother and those moments. People, I think, are still very uncomfortable with grief because you don't want to say the wrong thing around people. Mum encouraged me to write a daily journal when I was away because I think they felt like I was very disconnected too. I was suddenly just at university without many people that were connected to my brother. Luckily for me, I had my best mate down there, but I think if I had my time again, I would probably go and talk to an independent person just to go through that process of actually letting your emotions out, because I think bottling them is not good, because it definitely, I feel like I probably suppressed a lot of them for a long time.
What do you do today to help your mental health?
I choose to do things that I find fulfilling away from work. For a long time, I loved my work, so I thought, I'm getting all of this happiness from my work, so I'm just going to put everything into that. But actually, I've learned over the years you need things outside of work. If that is all you do and your eggs are all in one basket, one little thing happens at work and you're devastated because you're just investing everything in one direction. So what I do for my mental health now is I have outlets and I have things that I enjoy outside of work. The more connections and community and differences in your life you can have, the better it is for your mental health. So if one area of your life isn't going well, then there's always somewhere else that is. And I think that's really important, and it's taken me a while to understand that. And I feel really lucky that I'm in a place where we've got community. I think the community aspect has been something that's really made a difference to my mental health and to all of I see it, I see how connected we are, and I think every day people need to have a community. I think it's a massive missing piece of Kiwi culture that we used to have and isn't so much there anymore.
With everything that your family have been through, how did you still have hope for the future?
Even when I have been really upset and really confused and stressed and, you know, in a dark spot, I've always felt like I've had someone that I can talk to. Being that backstop for people is important, but also knowing that whatever dark times you have, there will always be someone that is willing to help. Sometimes you just have to let them know if they aren't making it obvious that they're your person. I always felt like there were people, and you just have to give people a chance to, because all you have to do is say one little word and most people will come to your aid. You just have to let them know.